Hi everyone, this is Ramya, your dietitian from Healthy Life Clinic. We always do a program awareness on diabetes, and we generally give advice and suggestions on how to improve your diabetic control. So, as such, in Sri Lanka, almost the 8th person is diagnosed with diabetes, and the problem here is many of us are left undiagnosed. So, if you have a population of, say, 69 million, and out of that, only 30% of them are diagnosed with diabetes, whereas almost a third of them go untreated or undiagnosed. Most of the problem lies in the fact that people are scared to find out that they have diabetes or to be told that you have any kind of medical problem. So once you've been diagnosed with diabetic, the next problem is that we're all very frightened. We don't know what it is that we are going to do. We are worried that we need to be bogged down with several medications, and we'll have to change our lifestyle, change our diet, and probably include exercise. So there are various aspects of the condition that could be scary, and my point of this presentation is to clear a few things about the misconceptions that we have about food in relation to diabetes. So whether you're a known diabetic or yet to be diagnosed with diabetes, or you have a risk factor for diabetes, the starting point would be to decide on having or following a healthy lifestyle in terms of what you're eating and whether you're physically active or not. So for those of you who are versed by the word exercise or eating healthy, it's about time to rethink your eating choices. So having said that, a lot of word goes around when it comes to food. We all love the type of food we eat, and we all have our own opinions and our own suggestions about what we need to take and how we go about doing our daily work. So if that is the case, the common problems that diabetics face, or the common things that they encounter in what they're eating and what they're not supposed to be eating, when it comes to those kind of issues about whether sugar is good for them, whether how much of salt they should take in their diet, how much of fats should be included. So these are all facts that need to be addressed and that need to be taken into account when you're a diabetic and if you decided to follow in line of healthy eating. So now the main problem we face is the availability and the access to various diabetic products in the market, and the claim that this particular type of food is good or it helps reduce blood sugar when taken by diabetics. So the fear comes in as to whether we should take these diabetic products or not, or whether the claims are real or not. So a lot of analysis, a lot of thorough reading, and a lot of awareness goes into actually selecting these products, and you need to skim through and carefully take each product into consideration, take each claim into consideration, and see whether that is, the product claims what it's going to deliver. So if on your own it's difficult for you to decide, you should seek advice from a healthcare professional who will probably be able to advise you better on whether the product is good for you or not. If you take this artificial sweetness that's freely available and flooded in the market for diabetic patients, it's become an essential in almost every household. So when it comes to artificial sweetness, there's the good side and the bad side of it. So just because it doesn't give us the calories as actual sugar does, it doesn't mean that you can overuse it or overdose on artificial sweetness. As such, when artificial sweetness are taken in excess of 200 milligrams per day, the side effects become apparent, and there are certain groups of the community which should not be taking artificial sweetness, like for example pregnant women and children below the age of 12. So preferably it's best not to give artificial sweetness or artificial sweetness containing food products to kids, and it's important that as parents we read the labels before we give it to the kids, even those children who have diabetes. If they have juvenile diabetes, it's better not to give them too many foods containing artificial sweetness, especially if they're below the age of 12. So when we think of adults using artificial sweetness, what we need to consider is in what situations or in what proportions we are using it in our daily diets, and whether it exceeds the recommendation given by food authorities. So on an average, it's very unlikely that anybody would overdose on artificial sweeteners. So experiencing side effects is actually a rare situation, unless you're using too much of artificial sweeteners to make your desserts, or any other part of your diet comes in with the use of artificial sweeteners. Under such circumstances, you have to actually monitor how much comes into your diet. So the commonest symptoms of overusing or taking in too much of artificial sweeteners is mostly you would experience upset stomachs, maybe vomiting, nausea, or even in some cases diarrhea. Certain artificial sweeteners, they have found, studies have been done, and there is research to say that it could be cancerous, but that is again only if you're exceeding the normal limits on a regular basis. So as an average person taking artificial sweeteners with a cup of tea, or just having one serving of a dessert using artificial sweeteners, those kind of regular intakes would not exceed the higher limits. So you can use artificial sweeteners, but with caution and within the recommended limits. So today I have just given you a little more information on using artificial sweeteners. I'll see you again with another video on other misconceptions of diabetes and how we can sort of clarify what is the myth and what is the fact surrounding those questions. Thank you.